Dr. Amanda Reynolds stared at the holographic display, her coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. The anomaly had appeared again. A slight distortion in the Kuiper belt that shouldn't exist. For 3 weeks, she'd tracked these energy signatures, each one matching perfectly with her theoretical models of faster-than-light travel. Dr. Reynolds, Sarah Martinez, her assistant, appeared in the doorway of the Deep Space Monitoring Facility's main lab. The Pentagon is on secure line 1. They're asking about Protocol Watchman. Amanda's hand trembled slightly as she reached for the phone. Only 5 people outside her team knew about Protocol Watchman, and none of them would invoke it unless. She took a deep breath and picked up the receiver. "This is Reynolds. Doctor." Colonel James Harrison's gravelly voice carried the weight of command. "Your last report mentioned a 70% probability. Has that changed?" She glanced at the latest readings. 85% now, Colonel. The energy signatures match our hypothetical FTL patterns, and they're getting closer. Whatever's out there, they're not making much effort to hide their approach. Or they don't think they need to. Harrison replied grimly. "Initiate Watchman. Full spectrum. I'm heading to the Cheyenne facility now." The line went dead, and Amanda felt the familiar mix of excitement and dread she'd carried since joining the program. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, hiding their true technological progress behind a carefully crafted facade of slower advancement. She turned to Sarah. "Wake up the quantum core. Full power, no more camouflage protocols." Across the solar system, hidden sensors sparked to life. Beneath the ice of Europa, thermal generators began their warm-up sequence. In the clouds of Venus, cloaked monitoring stations transmitted data streams that had been silent for years. Colonel Harrison stood in the command center of Cheyenne Mountain, watching as dormant systems across Earth and her colonies came online. The wall of screens showed green status indicators from installations that officially didn't exist. Mars Colony publicly struggled with basic terraforming, while secretly housing humanity's largest shipyard. The research stations on Europa contained enough firepower to level a continent. "Status report," he barked, and Lieutenant Jessica Parker responded crisply from her station. "All systems nominal, sir. Quantum core processing at full capacity. Defense grid achieving synchronization. Project Prometheus is ready for activation on your command." Harrison nodded, his weathered face reflecting the blue glow of the displays. 20 years of preparation, of hiding humanity's true capabilities, had led to this moment. The bunker's air felt heavy with anticipation. High above, in the elegant chambers of the Galactic Council's observation post, High Speaker Zixtal of the Orcs watched Earth with disdain. The primitive species below had barely reached their moon 50 years ago. Their technology was crude, their society fractious. They would be simple to subjugate. A mercy, really, preventing them from spreading their chaos to the stars. "The attack fleet is in position," his subordinate reported. "Our analysis suggests their orbital defenses are minimal. Their most advanced weapons are nuclear devices with limited range." Zixtal's facial tendrils rippled with amusement. "Proceed with the operation. A swift strike to their major population centers should reduce them to an agrarian state. Sometimes the kindest path is the harsh one." If he had understood human nature, if any of them had truly studied Earth's history, they might have noticed the patterns. How human technology seemed to advance in fits and starts, with breakthrough capabilities appearing and then mysteriously stalling. How their space program had slowed dramatically after showing initial promise. How their military technology remained just impressive enough to be respected, but never threatening. In her lab, Amanda received the quantum-encrypted message from Harrison. "Prometheus activated. All stations prepare for contact." She looked through her window at the peaceful Denver skyline, knowing it might be one of the last quiet moments Earth would see for a long time. Humanity had hidden, prepared, and waited. Now they would show the galaxy exactly what they were capable of. The fools had no idea what they were about to wake up. The Orcs warships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight. High Speaker Zixtal watched with satisfaction as the first wave approached Earth's orbit. His sensors showed minimal defensive activity, just a few primitive satellites and a handful of orbital stations. "Begin the cleansing," he commanded. "Show them mercy in our efficiency." The first plasma bolt never reached its target. A flickering blue shield materialized above New York City, absorbing the attack as if it were nothing more than a summer rain. Across the globe, similar shields sprang to life, their energy signatures unlike anything in the Council's database. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Amanda Reynolds allowed herself a small smile. "Shields holding at 98%, Colonel. Their weapons are exactly what we predicted." Colonel Harrison's voice crackled over the quantum comm. "Initiate counter-battery fire. Let's show them what a primitive species can do." Lieutenant Emily Cooper sat in the command chair of the MDS Vengeance, hidden within the massive caverns beneath Olympus Mons. Her crew, hand-picked from the best of Earth's space forces, waited for her order. The massive ship, officially listed as a mining vessel, housed enough firepower to level a small moon. "All hands, battle stations," she commanded. "Disengage camouflage systems, weapons free." The Vengeance burst from the Martian surface, its stealth systems falling away like autumn leaves. Across Mars, dozens of other ships emerged from their hiding places, a fleet that had been built and trained in absolute secrecy. High Speaker Zixtal's facial tendrils writhed in confusion as new contacts appeared on his tactical display. Impossible. Their technology level. This cannot be. The first human counterattack struck with devastating precision. Quantum-guided missiles phased through the Orcs' shields, their warheads specifically designed to exploit weaknesses in crystalline hull structures. 3 capital ships shattered before their commanders could even register the threat. "Status report," Zixtal demanded, his composure cracking as more ships emerged from Mars, Europa, and even Venus's toxic atmosphere. "My speaker, we're detecting energy signatures that contradict all our intelligence," his science officer reported, mandibles clicking in distress. "Their weapons, they're using principles we thought were theoretical." In her command chair, Lieutenant Cooper orchestrated the Martian fleet's attack with calculated precision. "Target their command and control nodes," she ordered. "Don't let them coordinate their response." The Orcs' fleet's rigid formation began to break apart as human ships struck from multiple vectors, using attack patterns that seemed chaotic but followed complex quantum calculations. Each strike exploited a different weakness, testing and probing for vulnerabilities. Dr. Reynolds coordinated the global defense from her bunker, watching as humanity's hidden strength was finally unveiled. "Colonel, the Orcs are falling back to regroup. Should we pursue?" "Negative," Harrison replied. "Let them run. Let them tell the Council exactly what they found here." On his flagship, High Speaker Zixtal watched in horror as a third of his fleet was systematically destroyed in less than an hour. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were winning. Their ships moved with impossible precision. Their weapons bypassed defenses that had protected the Orcs for millennia. And their tactics made no sense until it was too late. "Full retreat," he ordered, his pride shattering like his ships. "Return to Council space immediately." As the Orcs fleet fled, Lieutenant Cooper received new orders from Earth Command. Her crew watched the enemy ships escape, their hands steady on their stations. They had trained for this moment their entire careers, hiding their true capabilities, waiting for the day when humanity would reveal its strength. "Send the message," Cooper commanded. Her communications officer nodded, transmitting the carefully prepared words that would reach not just the retreating Orcs, but the entire Galactic Council. "You came to our home uninvited. You attacked without provocation. You thought us weak. You thought us primitive. You were wrong. We could have annihilated your entire fleet today, but we chose to let you live. Remember this mercy. Remember this warning. Earth stands ready." In the Rocky Mountain bunker, Dr. Reynolds watched the Orcs ships vanish into hyperspace. "Do you think they'll be back, Colonel?" Harrison's grim smile carried in his voice. "Count on it, Doctor. But next time, we won't be so generous. Next time, they'll learn why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our resolve." Admiral Michael Steele Mike Thompson stood at the viewport of the command station Phoenix, watching as Jupiter's swirling storms concealed the greatest military force humanity had ever assembled. For 15 years, they'd hidden their true fleet within the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere, using the radiation and magnetic interference as a natural cloak. "Status report on the Orcs reinforcements," he asked, his voice carrying the authority of 30 years in Earth's hidden Space Force. Commander Rachel Winters consulted her quantum display. "3 fleets approaching from different vectors, sir. They've learned from their first mistake. They're not bunching up this time." Thompson allowed himself a grim smile. "No, now they're making a different mistake. Signal the Jupiter fleet. Operation Thunderbolt is go." Deep within Jupiter's atmosphere, massive hangar bays opened in structures that had been dismissed as atmospheric research stations. Hundreds of ships emerged, their advanced hulls shrugging off the crushing pressure and intense radiation that had kept them hidden for so long. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Amanda Reynolds watched the deployment through quantum-linked sensors. "Colonel Harrison, the Jupiter fleet is launching. Admiral Thompson reports all systems nominal." "Excellent." Harrison studied the tactical display, showing the approaching Orcs forces. "What's the status of Project Echo?" "Ready for deployment," Reynolds replied, entering commands into her console. "The quantum entanglement network is stabilized. Once activated, every human ship in the solar system will be linked with zero communication lag." The Orcs fleets approached with confidence born of superior numbers. Their first defeat had been a surprise, but surely these primitive humans couldn't have more hidden forces. Their intelligence suggested the gas giants were too hostile for permanent bases. They were wrong. Admiral Thompson's voice echoed through every human ship simultaneously, carried by the quantum network. "All ships, execute Thunderbolt. Show them what humanity's best can do." The Jupiter fleet struck like lightning from a clear sky. Ships appeared seemingly from nowhere, their quantum drives allowing them to shift position faster than Orcs sensors could track. Advanced weapons, developed in secret and tested in Jupiter's endless storms, tore through enemy formations. In her command center orbiting Europa, Lieutenant Emily Cooper coordinated with the Jupiter fleet. "Admiral, we're detecting energy signatures from their second wave. They're charging something big." "Let them," Thompson replied calmly. "Dr. Reynolds, initiate the Echo protocol." Across the solar system, hidden quantum transmitters activated. Every human ship, every defense platform, every weapons system became part of a single interconnected network. In the Rocky Mountain bunker, Dr. Reynolds watched as the quantum eye processed combat data in real time, predicting enemy movements before they happened. The Orcs' massive energy weapon fired, a beam of concentrated plasma that could shatter a moon. It never reached its target. The combined power of a dozen human shield generators created a quantum barrier that didn't just stop the beam. It reflected it back at the stunned Orcs fleet. By the first ones, the Orcs admiral whispered as he watched his own weapon tear through his ships. "What are these humans?" Thompson's voice carried across all frequencies, intended for both his forces and the enemy. "We are humanity. We have fought ourselves for thousands of years. We have split the atom, touched the face of our moon, and learned to harness the quantum realm. We hid our true strength not out of fear, but because we hoped for peace." The Jupiter fleet moved with perfect coordination, each ship acting as part of a single organism thanks to the quantum network. Weapons that had been tested in the crushing pressures of Jupiter's depths proved devastatingly effective in the vacuum of space. "Signal from the Orcs flagship," Commander Winters reported. "They're requesting permission to retreat." Thompson shared a look with Dr. Reynolds through their quantum link. "Let them go. But first, Show them what's waiting if they return. The quantum network powered up to full capacity, and for a brief moment, every human ship in the solar system became visible. Hundreds of vessels emerged from hiding spots throughout the gas giants, asteroid belt, and planetary rings. A display of force that sent a clear message. This was just the beginning. As the Orcs fled, Dr. Reynolds turned to Colonel Harrison. "They'll tell the Council everything they saw today." Harrison nodded. "Good. Let them know that humanity isn't just awake. We're ready for war." Major Kate "Ghost" Wilson floated in the void between stars, her advanced stealth suit rendering her virtually invisible. Through quantum-linked optics, she watched the massive Orcs command ship drift past her position, its crystalline surface reflecting distant starlight. 5 other members of her special operations team maintained perfect formation, their suits synchronized to match the enemy ship's electromagnetic signature. "Remember," she subvocalized through their secure quantum comm, "we're looking for their central data core. 30 minutes to get in, plant the package, and get out. Team 2 is creating a distraction in the Kuiper Belt, but we won't get a second chance at this." The infiltration team activated their phase generators, technology reversed engineered from studying Orcs shield frequencies. Their bodies briefly tingled as they passed through the capital ship's outer hull like ghosts through a wall. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Amanda Reynolds monitored their life signs. "Ghost team is inside, Colonel. Their quantum signatures are stable." Colonel Harrison watched the tactical display showing multiple battles across the solar system. The Orcs won't expect this. They think warfare is about fleet actions and energy weapons. They've never faced an enemy who fights like us. Inside the Orcs ship, Ghost team moved like shadows. Their suits processed and mimicked the ambient energy patterns, making them appear as nothing more than minor power fluctuations to the ship's sensors. Years of studying Orcs technology had led to this moment. "Contact," Lieutenant Sarah Brooks whispered. 3 guards approaching the junction. Wilson raised her hand, and the team froze. The Orcs guards passed within inches, their sensor arrays scanning for conventional intruders. They never noticed the slight temperature variations that would have revealed the human operatives if they'd known what to look for. "Data core should be 2 levels down," Sergeant Mike Chen reported, consulting his quantum-linked display. "Security looks heavy." Wilson smiled behind her stealth mask. "Good thing we're not using the door." The team activated their phase generators again, dropping through the floor into a maintenance shaft. The Orcs, for all their advanced technology, never considered that someone might bypass their security systems by simply ignoring physical barriers entirely. In orbit around Neptune, Commander Jessica Parker led the diversionary attack. Her ships darted between the ice giants' rings, using the debris as cover while launching precision strikes against Orcs patrol vessels. "Keep them focused out here," she ordered her fleet. "Ghost team needs every second we can give them." Back on the command ship, Wilson's team reached the data core, a massive crystalline structure pulsing with stored information. Sergeant Chen began placing quantum charges while Lieutenant Brooks hacked into a nearby terminal. "Sir," Brooks called quietly, "you need to see this." Wilson moved to the terminal, her eyes widening at the data scrolling across the screen. "Dr. Reynolds, are you seeing this?" In the command center, Reynolds leaned forward. "Confirmed, Major. Those are staging plans for a full-scale invasion of Earth. They're gathering forces from across Council space." "Not anymore," Wilson replied, nodding to Chen. "Package is ready. Time to show them why they call us ghosts." The team retreated the way they came, phasing through walls and decks with practiced ease. Behind them, the quantum charges began their silent work, infiltrating the Orcs data network through pathways too small to detect. As Ghost Team reached their extraction point, Wilson sent the activation signal. Throughout the massive ship, quantum viruses spawned within the crystalline matrices, corrupting data faster than the Orcs systems could respond. "Package delivered," Wilson reported as her team phased through the outer hull. "Beginning countdown." The Orcsen never saw it coming. Their mighty command ship, pride of their fleet, suddenly went dark as cascading system failures tore through its network. Emergency broadcasts filled the frequencies as ship after ship lost contact with Central Command. Back in the Rocky Mountain bunker, Harrison allowed himself a small smile. "Remind me never to play poker with Ghost Team." Reynolds nodded, watching as chaos spread through the Orcsen fleet. The best victories are the ones the enemy never sees coming. By the time they realize what we've done, their entire command and control network will be compromised. Harrison finished, and they'll learn that humanity doesn't just fight with fleets and weapons. We fight with shadows and silence, with cunning and guile. We fight to win. In the void of space, Ghost Team watched the Orcsen flagship drift powerless, its once proud crystal hull now dark and lifeless. They had struck a blow that no amount of superior technology could counter, proving that humanity's greatest weapon was its ability to think beyond conventional warfare. "Mission accomplished," Wilson transmitted. "The Devil sends his regards." The Galactic Council chambers erupted in chaos as the Orcsen military commander stumbled through his report. High Speaker Zixtel's facial tendrils writhed in distress as holographic displays showed human forces using tactics that defied all known conventions of warfare. "They adapt," the commander explained, his voice trembling. "Each time we develop a counter to their strategies, they've already moved on to something new. It's as if they're fighting 1,000 different wars at once." Dr. Amanda Reynolds stood before the quantum core in the Rocky Mountain facility, watching as the artificial intelligence processed centuries of human military history. Battles from ancient Rome to modern conflicts fed into its neural networks, each strategy and counter-strategy analyzed and evolved. "Project Nemesis is ready," she announced to Colonel Harrison. "The predictive algorithms are operating at full capacity." Harrison nodded grimly. "Show me." The quantum core's holographic display came to life, showing real-time predictions of Orcsen fleet movements. Every possible strategy they might employ was mapped out, countered before it could be implemented. "They don't understand," Reynolds said softly. "Their species evolved in harmony. They never had to fight themselves, but humanity. We've been preparing for this our entire existence," Harrison finished. "Every war we fought against ourselves taught us something new." In the Mars Defense Complex, Lieutenant Emily Cooper received the first tactical updates from Project Nemesis. Her crews had already transformed their ship's combat protocols 3 times in the past week, each change designed to strike from an angle the Orcsen couldn't predict. "Begin Operation Hydra," she commanded. "Multiple attack patterns, simultaneous deployment. Let's show them why humanity's chaos is our greatest strength." The Martian fleet split into smaller task forces, each adopting different tactical doctrines. Some used ancient Greek phalanx formations adapted for space warfare. Others employed Vietnam-era guerrilla tactics with modern stealth technology. Still others drew from World War II submarine warfare, treating the void of space like the depths of the ocean. In the council chambers, the Orcsen tactical specialists watched in horror as their forces were systematically dismantled by strategies they couldn't comprehend. "This assault pattern," one specialist noted, "it mirrors something called Hannibal's double envelopment at Cana." But how can ancient ground combat apply to space warfare? "Because humans don't see limitations," Major Kate Wilson replied from the shadows, her stealth team having infiltrated the very heart of council space. "We see possibilities." The quantum core processed new data as battles unfolded across the solar system. Each engagement added to its understanding, generating counter-strategies faster than the Orcsen could adapt. Dr. Reynolds watched as Project Nemesis predicted the enemy's next 17 moves, each one already countered by a different human combat doctrine. "They're trying to establish a blockade near Saturn's rings," she reported to Harrison, "using crystalline mines based on their shield technology." Harrison smiled. "Send in the Ghost Fleet." Special Forces ships, utilizing phase technology derived from Wilson's infiltration suits, slipped through the Orcsen blockade like water through a sieve. Each vessel employed a different approach. some using ancient naval tactics, others modern special operations protocols, all of them impossible to predict. "I don't understand," an Orcs fleet commander transmitted in desperation. "Every time we adapt, they change everything. It's like fighting shadows in a hall of mirrors." In the Mars Command Center, Cooper watched as her forces executed a perfect combined arms assault that would have made Alexander the Great proud. Space fighters performed maneuvers based on cavalry tactics. Capital ships employed strategies from medieval siege warfare. Support vessels darted through the chaos using techniques learned from modern urban combat. "This is why we survive," she transmitted to her fleet. "This is why we thrive. Every war we fought, every battle we've won or lost, every drop of blood humanity has shed, it all led to this moment." Dr. Reynolds stood before the Council's emergency session, projected through quantum entanglement. Her words carried across the galaxy, a warning and a promise. "You thought our technology was primitive because we hid it. You thought our tactics would be simple because we're young. But what you never understood was this. Humanity doesn't just learn from victory. We learn from defeat. We learn from every fight, every struggle, every war. We've spent thousands of years practicing the art of warfare on ourselves, and now you get to experience everything we've learned." The quantum core pulsed with power as it generated another 1,000 possible strategies, each one drawing from humanity's long, bloody history. Each one ready to show the galaxy why you should never wake a sleeping giant who dreams of war. Admiral Michael Thompson stood on the bridge of the HSS Normandy, watching as the first human fleet prepared to enter Council space. The massive vessel, built in secret beneath Europa's ice, represented everything humanity had hidden from the galaxy. Its quantum drives hummed with power as the fleet assembled around it. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Commander Rachel Winters announced. "Ghost Team is in position for Phase 1. Thompson nodded, his expression grim. "Begin Operation Nightmare. Let's show them why humanity's legends speak of things that hunt in the dark." Major Kate Wilson and her stealth team had already infiltrated 3 Council worlds, planting quantum beacons that would guide the human fleet. But their true mission went far deeper. Every beacon also carried psychological warfare packages designed by Dr. Reynolds' team. Initiating broadcast, Wilson whispered from her hidden position on the Orcs homeworld, "Let the ghost stories begin." Across Council space, communication networks began picking up strange signals. Ancient human horror stories, translated into alien languages, filtered through their quantum networks. Tales of monsters in the dark, of unstoppable forces, of hunters that couldn't be seen until it was too late. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Reynolds monitored the psychological impact. The Orcs response is exactly as predicted. Their society has never developed cultural concepts of supernatural threats. They have no psychological defense against these kinds of fears. Colonel Harrison watched as the tactical display showed enemy fleets breaking formation, responding to phantom sensor contacts. Amazing what a few ghost stories can do to a species that's never had to fear the dark. The human fleet emerged from quantum space in perfect attack formation. Thompson had studied every naval battle in Earth's history, from ancient triremes to modern carrier groups. Now he applied those lessons to space warfare in ways the Council species had never imagined. "Launch fighter wings Alpha through Delta," he commanded. Pattern: Wolf Pack Hunt. Human fighters swarmed from their carriers, using modified World War I submarine warfare tactics. They attacked in coordinated groups, striking from multiple vectors, disappearing into the void before the enemy could respond. The Orcs ships, designed for formal fleet engagements, found themselves being picked apart by an enemy they couldn't predict. "Sir," Winters reported, "Ghost Team reports the Orcs command structure is starting to fracture. Their admirals are seeing threats in every shadow." Thompson allowed himself a grim smile. "Deploy the Phantom ships." Special holographic projectors, combined with quantum field generators, created convincing images of human warships throughout the battlefield. But these weren't simple decoys. Each projection was based on humanity's darkest legends. Ancient sea monsters translated into space vessels. Ghostly warships that seemed to fade in and out of reality. Their sensor operators are panicking, Wilson reported from her hidden position. They can't tell what's real anymore. Every shadow could be a stealth ship. Every sensor ghost could be a real threat. The psychological warfare took its toll. Arxan ships fired at phantoms while real human vessels struck from unexpected angles. Entire fleet formations broke apart as commanders lost trust in their own senses. Dr. Reynolds watched through quantum feeds as the battle unfolded. They thought we would fight like them. Fleet actions, energy weapons, calculated exchanges of fire. They'd never imagined we would weaponize fear itself. Harrison nodded. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our numbers. It's our imagination. Our ability to create nightmares and then become them. The Normandy led the charge deeper into Council space, its advanced weapons cutting through enemy defenses. But it wasn't the technology that broke the Arxan spirit. It was the uncertainty, the fear, the growing realization that they faced an enemy who had mastered the art of psychological warfare through millennia of conflict. Send the final message, Thompson ordered as another Arxan fleet retreated in disarray. Wilson activated her quantum transmitter, broadcasting on all frequencies. You thought you knew war. You thought you knew fear. But humanity has spent thousands of years perfecting both. We are what lurks in the darkness between stars. We are the monsters you never had to imagine. And now, you'll never forget us. The human fleet pressed forward, a nightmare made real, teaching the galaxy why Earth's children had learned to fear the dark and how to become what they feared. High-speaker Zixel's chambers, once a symbol of Arxan dominance, now felt like a prison. Emergency alerts flashed across quantum displays as more Council species withdrew their support. The Centaurians had already signed a separate peace treaty with Earth. The Proxima Collective was in negotiations. Even the ancient Vega dynasty had begun secret talks. Your arrogance has doomed us all, Council Elder Kexri accused, his holographic form towering in the chamber. These humans, they're not just winning battles, they're reshaping the very nature of warfare. Dr. Amanda Reynolds analyzed the intercepted Council transmissions from her station in the Rocky Mountain facility. Colonel Harrison, the Arxan leadership is fracturing. Their military commanders are refusing orders to engage our forces. Fear is a powerful weapon, Harrison replied, studying the tactical displays. And they're finally learning to fear us properly. In the depths of Arxan space, Major Kate Wilson's stealth team moved through the shadows of the High Command facility. Their quantum infiltration suits had evolved beyond simple camouflage, now incorporating technologies that made them appear as living nightmares to Arxan sensors. Package is in position, Wilson reported. Project Oracle is ready for activation. Dr. Reynolds initiated the quantum broadcast. Across Arxan space, every communication network, every data terminal, every military channel began displaying the truth. Carefully selected records of the Arxan leadership's lies, their hidden agendas, their manipulation of other Council species. Let them see, Harrison commanded. Let them all see what their leaders have hidden. High Speaker Zixtal watched in horror as his empire crumbled from within. Military commanders, faced with evidence of corruption and lies, began standing down their forces. Colony worlds, long suppressed by Arxan dominance, declared their independence. You said they were primitive, his senior admiral accused through a quantum link. You said they would break easily. Instead, they've shown us what true warfare means. They've shown us what we've become. Lieutenant Emily Cooper coordinated with the rebel Arxan forces from her command post on Mars. Their northern fleet has officially defected, she reported to Admiral Thompson. They're requesting asylum and offering tactical data on the remaining loyalist strongholds. Thompson, aboard the Normandy, nodded grimly. Send them the coordinates for the neutral zone. And make sure they understand, this isn't just about military victory anymore. This is about building something new. In the council chambers, species that had once cowered before Arxen might now spoke openly of alliance with Earth. They had watched humanity fight not just with advanced technology, but with creativity, adaptability, and most surprisingly, restraint. The humans could have destroyed us, a Centaurian representative observed. Instead, they offered us choice. They showed us the truth and let us decide. Dr. Reynolds activated Project Oracle's final phase. Every Arxen citizen, from the core worlds to the farthest colonies, received direct evidence of their leadership's crimes, not through human accusations, but through their own documented actions. The thing about pride, she told Harrison, is that it blinds you. The Arxen never considered we might fight them with truth instead of just weapons. High Speaker Zixtal felt his authority dissolving as reports flooded in. Military bases surrendering, colony worlds declaring independence, council species formally recognizing Earth as a major power. His carefully constructed empire of lies collapsed under the weight of exposed truth. You could have approached us as equals. Major Wilson's voice echoed through his chamber as her team decloaked, quantum weapons trained on his guards. You could have welcomed us into the galactic community. Instead, you chose war, and we showed you exactly why that was a mistake. The guards, seeing their own leader's corruption exposed, lowered their weapons. Zixtal, last of the great Arxen High Speakers, found himself facing the species he had dismissed as primitive, now transformed into something his people had never imagined. A force that won not just through superior firepower, but through the power of truth itself. Your reign is over, Wilson declared, not as a threat, but as a simple statement of fact. Humanity offers you one last choice: surrender with dignity, or watch your empire tear itself apart. In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Harrison and Reynolds watched as the message was broadcast across council space. The mighty Arxen, undone not by brute force, but by their own hidden truths brought into the light. The new council chambers bore little resemblance to their former glory. Gone were the towering thrones that had placed the Arxen physically above other species. In their place stood a circular arrangement of equal seats, with Earth's delegation positioned among them. Admiral Michael Thompson stood at the central podium, his dress uniform carrying both human and council insignia. Dr. Amanda Reynolds and Colonel Harrison flanked him, while Major Kate Wilson's stealth team maintained an invisible presence throughout the chamber. We could have demanded your surrender, Thompson addressed the assembled species. We could have claimed dominion over your worlds. Instead, we offer something unprecedented: genuine partnership. The quantum displays activated, showing the new Joint Defense Force structure. Human ships would serve alongside vessels from every council species, sharing technology and tactics. The Arxen, stripped of their empire, but not their dignity, would contribute their expertise as equals. Your mistake wasn't underestimating our technology, Dr. Reynolds explained, gesturing to the holographic plans for joint scientific ventures. Your mistake was underestimating our capacity for both war and peace. Lieutenant Emily Cooper, now Commander Cooper, led the first mixed-species training exercises in Mars orbit. Human pilots flew alongside Centaurian gunners and Arxen navigators, each learning from the other's strengths. Watch their formation, she instructed her students, both human and alien. Notice how the Centaurian's natural spatial awareness complements our tactical flexibility. This is how we become stronger together. In the Rocky Mountain facility, now expanded into a joint command center, Colonel Harrison oversaw the integration of different military doctrines. We've spent millennia learning to fight, he told the assembled alien officers. Now we'll teach you something equally important: how to defend without becoming oppressors. The former High Speaker Zixtal, now serving as a regular representative of his people, watched human children playing with young Arxen in a newly established cultural exchange center on Mars. We thought we were the teachers of the galaxy, he mused to Dr. Reynolds. We never imagined we would learn our greatest lessons from those we deemed primitive. The true measure of advancement isn't technology, she replied, but the wisdom to know when not to use it. Major Wilson's team had transformed from warriors into instructors, teaching other species the art of special operations while learning alien approaches to stealth and surveillance. The exchange of knowledge flowed both ways, creating new hybrid techniques that neither side could have developed alone. The best victory, Wilson told her mixed species class, isn't the one that destroys your enemy. It's the one that transforms them into allies. The quantum network, once used for warfare, now connected the member worlds in trade and cultural exchange. The same technology that had coordinated fleet actions now facilitated scientific collaboration and diplomatic relations. Admiral Thompson stood at the viewport of the Normandy, watching ships from a dozen species conducting joint maneuvers. Humanity's greatest strength, he told his mixed crew, was never our weapons or our tactics. It was our ability to imagine a better future, even in the darkest moments of war. The final piece of the new alliance fell into place as the Joint Defense Force headquarters was established on Europa. Human quantum technology merged with Arcsan crystalline architecture, creating a structure that symbolized the fusion of different approaches and philosophies. We came to the stars carrying the lessons of our wars. Dr. Reynolds addressed the opening ceremony. But we also carried hope. Hope that when the fighting ended, we could build something greater than any single species could achieve alone. The galaxy watched as humanity demonstrated its final and perhaps most surprising capability: the power to forgive. The species that had proven itself master of warfare now proved equally adept at fostering peace. Look to the stars, Colonel Harrison told the first graduating class of the Joint Military Academy. We no longer see battlefields or conquests. We see the infinite possibilities of cooperation between those who once called themselves enemies. As the sun set on Mars, casting long shadows across the joint settlement domes, Commander Cooper watched human and alien children learning each other's games and stories. This, she said to her mixed species command staff, this is the true victory, not the battles we won, but the peace we built together. The galaxy had awakened humanity's wrath, but in doing so, they had discovered something far more powerful: humanity's capacity for transformation, for forgiveness, and for building a future that transcended the divisions of the past.